Research and Education Center, about an hour north from the center. And we work with the Witt Science Lab up at the Gulf Coast Research and Education Center under the supervision of Dr. Nathan Boyd. Our primary goal is to develop management practices for growers. We typically work with herbicides to target kill weeds, so that way they can better manage their fields. Trying to find the best combination. We usually work with, in our lab, specialty crops like vegetables as well as strawberries. And so one of the main things is just trying to, one of our main goals is to try to reduce herbicide use and be a little bit more environmentally friendly. And one of those ways also can be done in pastures. I know obviously with cows, they ideally are going to forage on specific types of grasses. And so some weeds can be problematic as well as can be toxic to cows. So I did bring a couple of weeds that you can typically find that are problematic in cow pastures. One of those is going to be tropical soda apple, which can be toxic for cows. I also have some ragweed parthenium, have some common ragweed, nut sedge, and then also spiny pigweed, which I'm sure cows would probably not really enjoy munching on because of the thorns in them. And so we want to ideally try to reduce the amount of herbicides as well as still be able to target killing the weeds in the best way possible. And so one of those ways is through target spraying. Typically farmers will do like what's considered a broadcast spray, where they will spray an entire field with a chemical to kill everything, whether there are 3 weeds or 100 weeds. So they're going to do their best to kill everything possible. And so one of those ways is we want to target specific weeds and come up with reducing less herbicide. And one of those ways is with this contraption that you see behind here. And Dr. Anna Buzanini is something that's what she's working on. She's one of our postdocs in our lab, and so I'm going to hand it off to her so that way she can tell you a little bit more about this.
So when you guys think about robots, it's always like a high-tech thing and moving itself by alone and everything. But this is a kind of a robot, and all this structure can be attached to a tractor, like normal tractors they use in the farms and everything. And here you have a supercomputer, and inside of this computer you're gonna have a model. And when I said model, when you think about people using codes to do programming, computer and everything, you have something like this here, and you train these models. Usually gonna go to the field, and when you go to the field, you're gonna take a lot of pictures from the weeds that you want to kill. And when I said a lot, I mean like thousands. And then with these thousands of images, you're gonna do labels. When I say labels, it's gonna be, do you see these little squares that are showing that video? So everything here is what my model is identifying to spray in the real-time application in the field. But before this, I have to do these little squares in the weeds by the class and teach my model what is a weed and what of the kind of the weed it is. So if it's a grass, you have to teach the model, this is a grass, this is a broadleaf, and this is a nutset. In the case of the vegetables, you will separate the categories on this. And then the model will learn itself, running the codes with a lot of images to identify what is these weeds. And then when I go to the field, you have cameras, like these cameras here. So in this prototype, we have 2 cameras, so one each side, and each camera is responsible for 4 nozzles. So in the total here in this boom, I have 8 nozzles. So each camera is gonna see the weeds for these 4 nozzles in each side. So this camera is gonna record and send these videos in real time for my computer. The model with the codes inside of this computer is gonna send in real time the message for my nozzles to open or stay closed when the weed is detected. So here in the TV, when you see that green light appearing, is because my nozzle is working, it's gonna be opening and spraying the weeds. When it's gray, it's because no weeds was detected and then the spray is not happening. So with this, besides applying the whole area there besides, and kill everything. Doesn't matter if it was a weed or not. You're gonna select just where is the weeds are. If I just have the soil, it's not gonna be applying. And if it's just like in the case of pastures, my forage and not the weed that I want to kill, is not gonna be applying. So when you're applying vegetables, what you have is at least 40% of savings of the herbicides. So I using 40% less herbicides that I used to when applying as a broadcast. Because when it's a broadcast, what does this mean? Doesn't matter if I don't have weeds in all the places. Because weeds, they're not gonna grow uniform in all the area. They're gonna be in patches. And then if I spray everything, I'm gonna be spraying areas that I don't need sometimes. So if I use the AI, what I can do is spray just where the weeds are and save my money and time consuming, and also putting less herbicides in the environment. So if you guys want, you can come around just to take a look how is the structure here. But if in summary, it's gonna be this computer, and this computer is gonna be inside of the tractor if the AC, because it's better if I don't have overheating the computer, and it's not gonna stop to working while I am applying. So, and then I have the cameras, and the cameras send a message for these nozzles. Attached to the nozzles, I have a little thing that we call solenoid. This solenoid is the one that's attached to the computer and receive the message to open and close the nozzle. So when I came here, so I have all the control for this computer by the iPad. So when I'm in the field, I don't need to be inside of the tractor. I can be like far away and don't be that close to the herbicides. So when I just a second. Oh, my search was over. I have another on the truck. Okay, while she's taking another CO2, I'm gonna explain for you. So if you guys can see my iPad, when it's in the on, like here you can see the on. So if I put in the on, it's the broadcast. So I am applying everything, doesn't matter if it has a weed or not. And then when I put auto, it means that I want the computer to identify the weeds, and these weeds being sprayed. So in the same system, I can have even the broadcast or the precision spray. And why you have this? Sometimes when you have too much weeds in the area, the savings not gonna be worth for you to apply just where the weeds are. If I have a high density, my savings not gonna be high enough for worth all the money that I'm gonna put there to go with this and just spray where I want. So in this system, it's possible for the growers, if I have a low density of weeds, you can spray just where the weeds are and have high savings. But then, okay, now it's working. So you can see like on is gonna be always on and spraying everything. And then if I put in the auto here, the controller is gonna change. And you see that sometimes the nozzle is gonna stop and open. It's because the model is identifying the weeds, and then he's trying to really get what is the weeds are and just spray when they see the weeds. So if this was attached to the tractor and this moving, so this nozzle is gonna be closing and opening faster, just as the weeds are saw in the field. So you can save a lot of money. And then, what more you can think about this, like how you can not just like you go to the whole field and spray, but you also have another possibilities when you use AI. So, okay, I can show this one. So like this is a field of strawberries, common crop in Florida. And then you can see here you have the beds. On these beds, usually what the grower is gonna do, they're gonna fumigate privileges, so it has the bed formation, they're gonna fumigate this, and sometimes they're gonna apply a herbicide that's able to kill the weeds before they start to grow. That's called pre-emergence herbicides. And then the plastic is put on this bed, and then you start to have the crop growing. But usually all the weeds is gonna be killed by, gonna be suppressed by the plastic mulch, and then you don't have a problem for the crops. But what happened? You have this beautiful plant that's called nutsack that is able to come through by the plastic. Doesn't matter if you apply fumigants or not, or the pre-herbicide usually is not gonna work on this one. So one of the problems that we have is you have the plastic and then most of the weeds are suppressed, but the nutsack is still growing, and you need to control this. What you can do with this machine is just pass and see really what is happening in this area and apply just where you can see the nutsack and control just where the nutsack are. So you don't need to apply all over the bed, just where the nutsack are. So in the same time that you're doing this to apply, also you can start to record and then think, okay, I have the data from this year and I knew where my weeds are. So if I can predict what's gonna be like the next year. Okay, so this is the planting hose. So sometimes you can apply just where the plants are. So besides applying the whole bed, you're just gonna apply like here's some little plants. And then you apply just where the weed came through. That usually is gonna be this planting hole that's a space of light that the weeds can grow up. But what I want to really show you guys, it is. So while you're recording and the strawberry field and looking everything what is happening, you also can be doing this work that you call mapping. So you already have a GPS here, but for coordinate the tractor, but also can have a bigger GPS, and this GPS is able to run with this model and have the coordinates where my weeds are. So before you apply, you're gonna record where is my weeds are before, and then you can think what is your weeds gonna be in the next season. So you kind of can predict what is my weeds gonna be and how this is different. Like for the fallow period when I don't have plastic and a lot of weeds can grow more. So all the blue dots are nutsack in the field, and then when I have plastic, sometimes it's gonna be less. So sometimes you don't need to go through all these because the plastic still have a working and suppress some weeds, but you still have to control these blue dots that show even if the plastic. So you still can predict what is gonna happen, how it's gonna be, and then you can think, okay, I don't need to mix up all these herbicides if I don't have the whole field these weeds. I can just mix up the herbicide to apply where my weeds are and how it's gonna be the next year. So if all these, you can really think how is this gonna work, how you can predict what the weeds are, and then you start to save herbicides and then also put less herbicides in the environment. And another thing is, everything is just not, you can't just not depend on this to save and control all your weeds. It is the same thing if you have a broadcast application. If you don't have a weed measurement before and different techniques to control this, in the end this is not gonna work. Because if you don't apply a pre-emergent or you're not controlling your weeds in the other seasons, you're gonna have a high density. And if I go with this in a high density, I'm not gonna have all the control. Like I can have all the control, but I'm not gonna be saving all the herbicides that I can be saving. So everything depends on how you're gonna start and think about your management. And this is going to help, but you cannot just depend on this. You guys have doubts?
Questions?
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 Yeah.
Have you guys, I guess, tried this out on any fields so far, aside from a couple test plots?
So I'm here for 2 years and a half working, and then since then you're working field trials. So you already have two papers published just for the field evaluations. So when I go to the field, I was gonna compare how is this model when I'm training the computer, because usually in the computer it's gonna be, oh, I put the images, the models identify everything, and it's really good. But when you go to the field, sometimes it's not that good. Sometimes it's misunderstanding what is the kind of the weeds are. So right now you're like, when you have a nutsack in the field and I have a grass, looking from the top, sometimes the nutsack is not that easy for the computer to differentiate from what is my grass. So in my case, when I'm in the raw meadows, like the space between the beds and vegetables, for me doesn't matter because I'm gonna just spray where the weeds are. But if I go to, I don't know, to a pasture or something like that, that I just want to kill the weeds and not my grass, then it can be a problem. And then I have to put more effort or thinking in a different ways to identify these weeds that make the computer easier. But usually this is still pretty good. So in all the studies that you have in the field, usually the control is gonna be the same as at the broadcast. So the rates for the control is almost the same for both. What is different sometimes just the herbicide savings and of the species that is more present. Like sometimes in the broadcast I'm gonna have, I don't know, more broadleaves. And sometimes in the when I have the targeted spray, it's gonna be more grasses just because sometimes it's harder for the sprayer to really identify when it's really small grass because sometimes it's just like one leaf really in the beginning. So everything depends on how they stage. So what you're doing sometimes is like for nutsack. So if you look, the nutsack in the center is just gonna be like a triangle. So besides to identify the whole plant, you just put like the label here in the middle. So when it's passing by the top, the computer can see the triangle and say, oh, okay, this is a nutsack, it's not a grass. So everything depends.
One more. Nobody has another question.
Huh?
Just, I know the goal is to have reduced herbicide usage.
Yeah.
Is there like an average like reduction that you have so far, or is it kind of vary by field?
So the last time that you did, if you apply 3 emergent herbicides and just use this for apply post-emergent herbicides, I had 80% of savings in average. But if I don't have a pre-emergent herbicide, I'm gonna have a higher density of weeds usually. So my savings when I don't have a pre-emergent herbicide vary from 40 to 6%. And everything's gonna depend, of course, how density is in my fields. So right now, what I'm doing is try to do experiments with different densities of weeds to really see like, okay, if I have this density of weeds, usually my savings is gonna be like this. But if I have way more weeds, I don't know if it's worth for them use all the just like precision besides the broadcast application.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Where are you from?
Brazil.
Wow. Okay, very cool. And how long have you been here in the States?
So this time now is 2 years and a half.
Is that how long you've been at Gulf Coast?
2 years and a half. So I finished my PhD in Brazil and came to work with Dr. Witt.
Cool. So when you were here previously,
I was in Gainesville, but I was just for 6 months, and I was doing part of my like an internship during my PhD, but it was 2018. So I stayed in Brazil for more 3 years and then come back 3, 4.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. Very good.
If you guys would like to take a closer look, if you want, you can come to the screen. If you wanted to actually see it like in live time, label the weeds.
Anybody want to come up and take
Yeah,
a
this
closer
one
look at
is
the
really
equipment?
like what is happening right now and what he's seeing. So as you can see, yeah, this is what is this camera is doing, and that is for that camera. So you can see both cameras. So yeah, so you can see the feed and everything. So you have a high resolution camera, and this is like it doesn't need to be a really like how I can say high tech camera. This is like it's not a gold like a webcam. Yeah, it's not a webcam, but also it's not like a I don't know. So this camera is able to see everything, but as you see, do you think you can see that sometimes it's identified as a grass, and here is identified as a nutsack, even that's all grass here. Yeah, this is the weed. So all these little boxes, orange boxes, is the weed that is identifying. So when it's passing, it's showing all these images, and the computer is really fast to process and apply everything.